Podcast City Network.
This is Final Score, your number one podcast for sports news. Here are your hosts, Chris and Craig.
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Final Score, episode 82. We just keep getting up there and up there and up there and up there, and you know it's going to keep going because we're not going to stop because we try to bring the very best that we can here on Final Score. And of course, I can't do this without my compatriot, my comrade, my brother in arms here. Craig, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, Chris. We're hanging in there. We've had a bit of a rough week. We've been made a trip back home, but we're here. We made it safe. Had some power outages this morning. We're off to a great start, but we're here. That's what matters. I'm excited to be doing this show with you today. And how are you doing, man? I know you've had a bit of a morning yourself.
I'm exhausted. I've gotten very little sleep, and we started late because I had to powerbomb children and show them what The Rock was cooking. So, at the end of the day, it's been a rough morning. It's been a rough morning, but we are here. So we've made it to this part of the day. So that's the beautiful. It can only go up from here. Oh, man. But I tell you what, though, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But first, to be able to catch up on all the things that we talk about and all the great things that we share, you have to follow us on social media at PCN Final Score on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. So definitely make sure to go on there, give us a like, give us a follow. Check out all the great stuff that we have going on, just like how we have some great stuff that we did, or I should say you did, just yesterday, talking to Chris LeBron of Off the Ball Podcast and Off the Ball Network. What'd you guys talk about?
Yeah, we're going to be playing an interview for everybody that I had with Chris LeBron yesterday. We recapped the NBA draft from Wednesday, and him and his crew over there with Off the Ball Network have been very, very busy because not only do we have the draft Wednesday, free agency started Friday at 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked a little bit about that, and of course how his Knicks. How he felt they did. We're going to show you a bit of it, and then we'll tell you after the clip where you can find the rest of the interview.
Yeah, so definitely sit back, kick back, and enjoy this clip.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Final Score. This is Craig, and I have brought back recurring guest and of Off the Ball Podcast and owner of Off the Ball Network, Chris LeBron. How are you doing? Welcome back, my friend.
I'm happy to be back, Craig. This is I'm looking forward to this, and like I said, thanks for having me on again, bro.
Absolutely. Well, obviously we brought you back because you're making a bunch of moves in the podcasting world, and you guys really have been really busy over the last week. We had the NBA draft on Wednesday night, and then the NBA free agency started very quickly after on Friday.
Yeah.
So that got started. You guys have been pretty busy over there.
Oh yeah, it's the draft. I mean, the draft stuff it feels like 3 years I've been doing a bunch of draft stuff. It feels like it's been forever, but not much turnaround, right? We go right around, right? Draft happens and then boom, free agency a few days later. So, got to rest up for a little bit after all the draft stuff, but free agency got me on the phone 24/7 seeing what's going on. But it's crazy. It's been a crazy couple days in the NBA. So, but it's also fun, that there's so much, transactions happening and seeing where guys are going. So it's fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, that bubble's not really doing any favors for the 2020 or the 2021 season.
Yeah.
But let's jump right into it. Let's talk about Wednesday night. First of all, what were your initial reactions or just overall thoughts on the night? Obviously, they took the NFL route and went completely virtual. What are your initial thoughts on how the night went overall?
Yeah, they did. we kind of saw with the NFL draft, right, and how they, how they handled everything, and it kind of went well. It went really well for the NFL. So, the NBA has done a good job with how they handled, the pandemic and all that. So I was kind of confident that they would definitely, do a good job with all that and handling all that. So that wasn't shocking that they hit a home run with that. But yeah, everything went smooth. It was emotional. I think a lot of emotion from these guys, more than we probably would have seen if this was like if this was like at a, wherever, and they, handshakes and, with the commission and all that, with a lot of emotion. I guess when you're around your family, you feel more comfortable and you could do stuff like that. But yeah, it went well. It went well. Not too many shocking surprises or anything like that, but overall, it went well for sure.
Absolutely. And with Anthony Edwards going number one overall out of Georgia, you talk about any not really too many big surprises. Do you think anybody like really kind of went out of left field and took somebody that you were kind of shocked by, or was everybody pretty well in line with what you guys had predicted?
I mean, this draft was a draft where we all knew like everyone has everyone all over the place. So
Yeah.
we were kind of expected to see probably a few names that maybe went higher than we might anticipated. But it kind of went the way we kind of thought it went. And then I mean, obviously Patrick Williams going to Chicago was kind of shocking, but you could see the upside because he is a physical talent and he does possess a lot of things, a lot of tools that I think teams would like. But no, I didn't when I going through the draft, there wasn't really any picks where I was like, oh my god, why'd they do that? It was kind of like you said, this draft is all over the place. So it's kind of like, okay, I get it. This is probably one of the few drafts where you actually like, okay, I get why they would do that. Get why I do it. There wasn't a lot of head scratchers like, oh my god, there wasn't like that Papagiannis, when Sacramento took him and like a few years back, and you're like, whoa, like why was that? Or Anthony Bennett type stuff. So overall, nothing really crazy. Maybe a few guys that may have went a little higher than I would have took, but you could see why they, like Isaiah Stewart was another guy too, like that went, top 16. I probably had him like in the 30s and stuff, but he was a top 5 recruit coming out of high school, so you could see why a team would take a chance on him because he has physical gifts. So I mean, nothing crazy. Like it kind of it was shocking as far as that. Like there was nothing really over the top was happened in this draft. So other than that, yeah, it kind of went smooth, and yeah, it was shocking as far as that. Like it kind of went really smooth and nothing too out of the nowhere. Because we heard the Patrick Williams stuff,
Yeah.
was going to happen. That he was going to go top 10. I didn't think top 4, but like I said, you can see why because he has the potential to be really good. And in this draft, you're going to take a lot of guys based off potential because obviously, a lot of a lot of guys stopped playing in March, and we couldn't see a full season, or so especially with freshmen like him, like you don't get to see a full season. So it wasn't, nothing too crazy happened.
Yeah, and I saw you guys were doing on your last mock draft talking about some guys shooting up the boards because of their workouts, and
Hmm.
like you said, there's not a whole lot of tape, but they were shooting up the boards because of how good their workouts were, and kind of throwing a wrench into some things. But
Yeah.
over the course of the night, we obviously had not a lot of big trades in the top, in the lottery,
Yeah,
which is kind
none.
of surprising,
No,
really
I think that's the
surprising.
first time, and I forgot the exact year, but it's like the first time in a while where there's no trades in the lottery.
Yeah, we heard a lot about the Warriors potentially trading out of number two, and who was going to go up and take that spot. But
Hmm.
yeah, no movement. The Pistons were kind of the only team that really made a lot of moves outside of that. Um, but out of all the teams, who do you think did the most to kind of improve themselves, or who do you think kind of there's always winners and losers in a draft?
Yeah.
Who do you think kind of did the most there in Wednesday night's draft?
Um, I think I like the Pistons draft. I don't like the free agency,
Yeah.
but I think they kind of I don't know what they're doing in free agency. They're getting so many centers and all that, but I did like their draft a lot. I felt like they took to me the number one player in the draft in Killian Hayes. So to me that was a home run. That was a steal for them, and just I liked how they need a new face of the franchise, and I think Killian can definitely be that guy for them. And But Timberwolves, took some chances. They took they selected Anthony Edwards. A lot of people were worried about Anthony Edwards, before the draft and a lot of the stuff coming out, but I definitely like what they did. So yeah, I mean, the Knicks I think took they took their guy and Obi Toppin. They did good. The Suns with Jalen Smith. There was a lot of like I said, there was a lot of more things I liked than I didn't like the teams made. So there's definitely like I said, the Patrick Williams thing was kind of a little like I said before, head scratching, but
Yeah.
overall, I mean, the Hawks getting Onyeka Okongwu to me was like, wow, like they got him, like, and then the additions they made in the offseason with getting, Gallinari, coming to the team. To me, they solidified themselves as a possible playoff team for sure, in my opinion, because they needed to get some guys like that, and they did well. So I think the Hawks hit a home run. Yeah, like I said, there's no wasn't. I liked a lot of like I really liked this draft. So I wasn't sitting back like, oh, this team did bad. I think a lot of these teams got better. There's a lot of good shooters. The Pelicans got Kyra Lewis Jr., who's another guy I really liked a lot. Wonder how they feel about Lonzo. That's interesting. With that, but yeah, there wasn't a lot of like we said before, like there wasn't a lot of moves where I was like, I don't like. Like I liked a lot of teams draft more than teams I didn't like. So, yeah.
All right, we are back, man. That was some really good stuff. Really great information there from Chris LeBron over there at the Off the Ball podcast. Man, a lot of stuff happening with free agency and the draft, man. And we've had more news break since.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole interview was about 35 minutes long. So we're going to be releasing that interview in its entirety either later on today, tomorrow. We're going to be posting it on YouTube. You can find it youtube.com/PC and Final Score. And the audio version is going to be released along with how we normally release all of our audio versions. So you can find all of those. And yeah, there's a lot more on there. This was just about the draft, but we talked free agency, which of course all that information has already changed at this point.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of wild how fast that stuff moves. But yeah, a lot of stuff that we talked about. It's always a lot of fun having him as a guest, and looking forward to the next time we can bring him on.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely really crazy with everything that's going on. Obviously, we're dealing with a very shortened calendar with the NBA right now as well. December 22nd start date for the new league year. They'll be tipping off. So but today's the 22nd. We're in November. That's 1 month away. So not a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Do you think we're going to get a lot of moving and shaking here in the next couple weeks before we get to December 22nd?
Yeah, you've already seen a handful of people signing in the first day, and really the first 24 hours. So I wouldn't be surprised. Really, what everyone's waiting for are the top people in this free agency class. Really, that's Anthony Davis, that's Brandon Ingram, which there's been news a little bit about Anthony Davis, but most of the guys in that middle tier have already signed within 24 hours. I think because they know that, like you said, it's a very quick turnaround.
Yep.
Like, training camp is literally right around the corner already. So I think that's why guys are signing pretty quickly. Some of them are probably taking smaller deals, like Montrezl Harrell is one. He signed a 2-year deal. I believe it's a 1+1, so it's an option for the second year. I think he did that as a calculated move because next offseason is going to be a real offseason, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And hopefully then he can command the type of money that he thinks he is worth. So I think that's what he's doing here. It's why he positioned himself to sign with the Lakers on a 1+1.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. They also got the runner-up as well. Lakers trying to make some moves with AD. AD says he wants to return to the Lakers. It's just going to take time to get the perfect deal done. So Lakers trying to repeat.
Yeah, and they know their windows now. LeBron's not getting any younger. He's in his mid to late 30s. He's not going to be playing for 5 more years, maybe. I don't know. He's a freak athlete. Like, he might play for 10 more years. I don't know. Like, he'll be out there with he'll be out there when most guys are out there using walkers. He'll be out there just still sprinting like he's 25 years old.
No.
But,
He's gonna do it even more ball. He's gonna take the MJ route. He's gonna retire, act like he's gonna retire. He's gonna go play in the NFL at tight end for a few years, and then he's gonna retire from that, say he's done, and then magically return to the NBA for another run and win another title or two. Just it's a LeBron way. Gotta follow the MJ archetype.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting because his son, Bronny, is supposed to be eligible for the NBA in the next couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually have a father-son duo play together for the first time ever in the NBA, to my knowledge.
Oh man, that would be absolutely insane. And I'm sure, and I know LeBron has said in the past that he would desire to have that happen, to be able to play against his son in the NBA. So who knows? We'll see what happens. But you know what also we see a lot of that looks amazing? You know what it is. Tell me all about it, Craig.
Are you talking about the stuff you can get on PCN Shop?
I think I am.
Well, you can get a lot of stuff on the Podcast City Network merchandise store. You can get a net gator that helps you help protect you from COVID-19. You can get a mug to have your morning coffee, or you can just have a T-shirt, an awesome Final Score T-shirt, or a Podcast City Network T-shirt. See a nice little plug there.
Hey.
And whatever you want, we've got you covered. We keep adding more things to the store by the week. You can see it on your screen. There's from all the other shows, your favorite shows on the network, Double Dime, Deathmaster Russell Podcast, Urban Nerd Weekly. You can find Everett Lee Show merch on there. You can find, of course, Final Score. And you can even find Year One Podcast City Network gear if you really want. But go to podcastcity.net/shop. You can check out all the latest gear, and when you buy something from the store, you're helping us out. We get a percentage of everything that is sold, so thank you so much. If you do buy merchandise, we know we're looking at you, Jimmy. We appreciate all the gear, and yeah, that's how you can support us. Go to PCNshop.com. You can find all the gear from your favorite shows.
Definitely. And if you get our gear, take some pictures, send it to us. We'd love to see you guys rocking the gear. It honestly brings that warm little tingle to our hearts. So, because we really appreciate it. It really helps more than you guys think. So, please just send us those pictures. We'd love to see it. But something else we love to see is NFL Week 11 action, because we got a lot of craziness going on. And we got to kick it off first by talking about this Thursday night football game that honestly got a little dramatic there at the end, but I think ended in a fashion a lot expected. Seahawks taking down the Cardinals 28-21. So what's your take on this game?
Well, if I may, before we get to that, we had some comments that we want to kind of address here, if that's okay.
Let's do it.
Let's get so first Jim, both of these are from Jimmy, by the way. Appreciate the engagement there. Said he's wearing some of our shirts, and the net gaiters are very high quality, so it's always awesome. Getting his hoodie later on. I was gonna order a hoodie, but I don't think it gets cold enough here in Florida. So.
I mean, it happens every now and then, like every third year or something. I don't know, but I do know though that Jimmy, your hoodies are on the way. They did ship, so expect those soon.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we got that email that they did ship. The other question was related to the NBA. Do you guys think teams may be drafting more for roster depth with all of the COVID concerns, or do you just go for the best player available?
That's definitely an interesting take. With NBA and how small the rosters are, I think you go for the talent, because you have one guy that can change the course of an entire game. Honestly, especially when you start looking, even on the college level, I actually saw, I got to leave it to ESPN to always come up with this stuff. There was a player, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, who ended up setting the record for points by scoring 138 points in a collegiate game. And he had thrown up, I think it was like 30 or 40 something 3-pointers. Like, it was absolutely insane. So it can show in basketball that one player can automatically be a difference maker in a game. With the NFL, on the other hand, and how this will end up turning out, this could end up being something a little bit different, because you do need depth in the NFL. It's a lot more important than the NBA. So with that in mind, you might see teams maybe start going for depth, but when you're in the upper rounds, you still got to go for the talent. But once you get to like rounds 3, 4, hey, get all the depth you can get.
Yeah, and I think that's not going to change for the NBA. You still, like you said, want to go for the best players available. players that are going to fit your scheme and the team that you already have. We're seeing that now that players are getting selected by the teams that think it's the best fit. Even looking at the draft was all over the place because it wasn't very like, okay, the top 5 is going to be this because of talent and need. It basically was like the top 3, and then once you get to number 4, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So, and we actually saw that. There's a couple of question marks that were drafted here and there, but you could understand, and as Chris talked about in our interview when we chatted yesterday, you understand why the teams drafted the way they did or signed players the way they did, just because you're looking for fit there. So I don't think that really changes, but it'll be very interesting to see how the NBA handles this next year. Are they starting in a bubble? Are they going to start with some regional bubbles maybe, or it's really just going to depend? They're still in conversation, but I think you got to go for talent over depth. And really with depth, I mean, there's a lot of talented guys that play basketball in the world. And with the G League being heavily used in the last year or two, I would not be surprised to see a lot of call-ups from the G League, especially if COVID does rear its ugly head to the NBA.
And that's definitely going to be a concern going forward. So we'll definitely, see how that works out. And it's going to be real interesting. But looking at this Thursday night game, though, and what the Seahawks were able to do, this moves them to 7-3. They now retake first place in the NFC West as of right now. That could change today depending upon the slate of games that we have lined up. But what's your instant reaction for this game, though?
This was a great game to watch. I actually had a chance to watch this game on Thursday, and it was kind of all was built up from the first time they played. I was a little surprised that Seattle took kind of. I wasn't really too surprised actually that Seattle took kind of not a really big lead, but they got some distance, and then of course the second half Arizona comes storming back. They did what they needed to do with Kyler Murray, and you have to get pressure on him. You have to force him to try to make the throws downfield under pressure, and that's really what they did. He did have to throw the ball 42 times, and he did outthrow Russell Wilson from a yardage standpoint. But that's about it. I mean, they went toe-to-toe yet again, and I was really impressed to see how Kyler Murray handled the pressure throughout the course of the game and brought the team back. They had a chance in the fourth quarter, but it just kind of felt like throughout the very end of that game, you could kind of tell this was kind of the Seahawks game to win, and but the Cardinals had a chance. I'll give them that. They made it a close game. They didn't turn the ball over very much, actually, at all. Neither team had a turnover. But really the rushing game for Seattle was the key. I mean, they got over 150 yards on the ground total as a team, and that really ended up making the difference because it helped with time of possession. It helped just keep the ball out of Kyler Murray's hands.
That and half of that was Carlos Hyde himself with 14 carries, 79 yards, and a touchdown, showing that, hey, he still got it, and he can definitely make a difference if given that rock. So, this is a very good, I think, total team win, very balanced offensive attack. They took very good care of the ball, which has been an issue recently for Russell Wilson specifically. So with that in mind, this is what the coaches want. This is what Pete Carroll wanted, be able to have that offensive attack, limit turnovers, and be able to go out there and win the game. So, honestly, real great showing, though, by Kyler Murray. And, Larry Fitz still making it happen. DeAndre Hopkins still making it happen. But it wasn't quite the magic like they had against the Bills. They weren't able to pull out the miraculous win. But still, it's showing the Cardinals are here to stay, guys. Kyler Murray is no joke. Cliff Kingsbury is no joke. This team can make things happen. So definitely got to watch out. I think this is a huge step in the maturation process of Kyler Murray. Sometimes you got to take those losses along with those epic wins. You got to take those tough ones to be able to learn from. And I think this is one he'll learn from and be able to take forward to help himself be a better quarterback. So definitely watch out for the Cardinals. I think they're going to be a big contender with Kyler Murray at quarterback. So watch out over the next few years. But we definitely still have a huge, huge slate of games that are going to be happening today. There are some issues, though, with worries of COVID, but luckily we got through a lot of that. I'm looking at you, Eagles. Stop getting COVID. Stop going out. Philadelphia's already said you guys can't have fans, so calm down. My gosh. Too much craziness.
Why would he want to have fans this year? Look at the state of the team.
Still first in the NFC East, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so unenthusiastic. I love it. Oh, that's great.
But what do we got to hit off the slate of games, Craig?
Well, kicking off the 1 o'clock window, we're going to have my 4-5 Detroit Lions traveling to Carolina to play against the 3-7 Panthers. The Lions are favored by 1.5, but unless things have changed, to my knowledge, both McCaffrey and Bridgewater are going to be out for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen any updates on that just yet, but I do know that I think it's PJ Walker of XFL fame, the Houston Roughnecks, may get the start today. So because there's no McCaffrey, because there's no Bridgewater, I'm going to take the Lions here to win this game. I just think the Lions they're very inconsistent, especially on defense, but on offense, I mean, they had a big lead against Washington. The defense blew it, and then they had to have a game-winning field goal. But I would not be surprised if it's going to be kind of a similar storyline here. Is that if the Lions are smart, there's a guy that you just drafted on this team. His name is DeAndre Swift. Feed that man. I don't care. Feed that man the ball. That is what is going to be the X factor for the Detroit Lions if they want to win this game.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the only thing that'll save them. But, I mean, when you don't have to go against Teddy Bridgewater or Christian McCaffrey, I mean, I feel like you're pretty set up as it is. So, as long as their defense hangs in there, I agree with you. Detroit got a shot, man. But in our next game, we got my lowly Philadelphia Eagles at 3-5-1, still leading the NFC East, traveling to Cleveland to take on the 6-3 Browns. The Cardiac Browns, I swear, they are so flip-floppy because their losses have been horrid. Their wins have been great. So you never know really what you're going to get from the Browns. I'd like to think the Eagles have a shot in this, with the Browns only favored by 2.5. But the Eagles are so hard to pick in anything right now. Carson Wentz statistically is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league right now. Injuries marring that entire team offensively, defensively. It's been horrid. However, they are supposed to get Alshon Jeffrey back. So we'll definitely see what happens. Miles Sanders, I know, has been hobbled, so the running game could be interesting. Boston Scott probably going to end up getting a lot more work, so definitely keep an eye out for that. But the Eagles are going to have to go against this Browns team. Sure, they don't have OBJ, but they still got Jarvis Landry, and they still got a defense that can get to the quarterback. And that's what scares me more than anything, is that Myles Garrett is probably going to get to Carson Wentz quicker than anybody has gotten to Carson Wentz. So
I think on an update on that, I think I saw Myles Garrett is not going to play today.
All right, now the Eagles have a shot because the Eagles, as I was going to say, have actually pretty good defense themselves and actually rank in the top 5 in sacks this year with 30+. So if the Eagles want to have a shot, they got to get to Baker Mayfield and disrupt him and try and stop this run game at all costs. But this one's going to be tight.
That is confirmed. That is confirmed. Myles Garrett is on the COVID list. Is not eligible to play today.
Boom. There you go. But still, it's not going to be enough because Cleveland's probably going to end up taking this one by 3. I'm telling you, we're winning it with 4 wins, man.
It's gonna be tight, man. That's gonna be.
Oh, hold on. I got to do it for George, just because it's for the Philadelphia Eagles. I can be honest.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Probably one of the games of the week. One of the premier games of the week is going to be Tennessee Titans at Baltimore Ravens. Both teams are 6-3 coming into this game. Ravens are favored by 6 though, and it's really going to be on the back of, can they, being the Ravens, contain Derrick Henry? Can you contain him? Can you help get enough pressure on Ryan Tannehill to force mistakes? He's only got 3 interceptions on the year to 20 touchdowns, and we've seen Lamar Jackson. He's got a bit of a down year compared to last year's, passing-wise at least. Mm-hmm. But there's a few injuries on both sides, so this defense for the Baltimore Ravens is not going to be as formidable as it usually is. So it just really depends who's gonna have the least amount of turnovers. And I think in that case, I think this is gonna be a very close game. I'll take the Ravens, but I'll take the Titans to cover.
Interesting. You know, I got to give 2 cents on this game because this is a pretty big matchup this week. Considering when you look at the entire slate of games, this is probably going to be probably one of the bigger matchups of the entire weekend. Probably only 2 or 3 other games that could even come close. I wonder, though, and I find it funny, you know, when defenses plan for Derrick Henry, you know, how philosophical do they get? You know, they're like, oh, how can we stop him? What is stopping? You know, how do we stop unstoppable? You know, and I wonder if they really like sit down and think philosophically, how can we do this? Because guess what? There's no way to stop Derrick Henry. That dude is a beast. You want to talk about a bulldozer with an 800 horsepower motor on it just going at you. It's just crazy to watch it go. So, you say the Ravens are going to win. I have to put a pick in here. I think the Titans are going to win and upset the Ravens. Ravens are looking kind of shaky. Lamar Jackson, yes, his numbers are down. They've had issues. Mark Ingram's been in and out of the lineup. It's been crazy, man. But I think the Titans can pull it off.
I could very well see it. I mean, both of these teams play solid defense. They force a lot of turnovers, and the offenses don't turn it over very much. So it's going to be who can force the most amount of turnovers is probably going to come up and win. And I'm not super confident in the Ravens pick, but I could absolutely see the Titans winning this game.
Oh, yeah, we definitely can see how it goes. In our next game, though, we have the 9-0 and our only undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. They've never been 9-0 before, so definitely a history in the making right now. Traveling on down to Jacksonville to take on the 1-8 Jaguars. Steelers are favored by 10.5. Probably, I think, our biggest line this week. I don't even know if there's a question about like who's going to win this game. Jaguars are, I think, going to their backup quarterback who's now going to be starting because Minshew's still out. They're having all kinds of issues left and right. This team has been just horrid. Shown flashes of being good, but they're absolutely horrid. Steelers are going to win this one. I think they'll cover 2. 10.5, I'm going to say 14, maybe even 17 points. Big Ben going to have a day, but he's going to end up just handing it off to James Conner and let him do what he does best.
This is what they call a trap game, okay? This is the Steelers, yes, 9-0. And Mike Tomlin came out and said this, you know, we understand this is professional. It's not a trap game, but it's on the road. Jaguars, even being 1-8, they've stuck in games they're not supposed to stick in. So I would not be surprised if this is a lot closer than the 10.5 point spread says.
Oof. I think you're giving them too much credit.
I'm just saying, watch out. That's a potential. These types of games,
potential,
it's
yes.
easy to pick. It's bit us in the ass before, so just watch out.
Well, there's potential I can win the lottery too, but here we are.
Can't win if you don't play, my friend.
That's a good point. I definitely don't play.
You play to win the game.
This guy. What do you got on the slate?
Can we get that clip on your board? That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be good. That's a good one. We're going to put it on there.
Let us know in the comments what clips you want to hear from famous outbursts of NFL coaches. Throw them in the comments because we're going to read through these comments and we're going to add things.
I got to get that one. Playoffs? You want to talk about playoffs?
Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do practice. Throw them in the comments. I want to hear it.
Oh, yeah, it'd be good stuff. But what do we got for our next game?
The next game we've got, what I think is another potential upset game, the 3-6 Atlanta Falcons traveling to 7-2 New Orleans Saints. This game's going to be on Fox. The Saints are favored by 3.5. No Drew Brees. I think that's a big, big determining factor in what's going on. And throughout the week, we've heard is it going to be Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill? They've made the decision it's going to be Taysom Hill. I would not be surprised if he starts, quote unquote, the game, but Winston's probably going to get a lot of snaps as well. I think Peyton's going to be a little back and forth about finding a rhythm, and I'm going to call an upset here. I'm going to say that the Falcons are going to upset the Saints on the road. You got to look at what they've been doing. Todd Gurley's got 9 touchdowns on the year. He's got almost 600 yards. Matt Ryan's got only 5 picks on the year, and they've actually been playing decently well under their new interim head coach. So I'm gonna call the Falcons here in an upset. I think that the Saints have a lot of talent, yes, but when you don't have a guy named Drew Brees running your offense, if you've got Taysom Hill who's thrown 15 passes in his whole career, The guy's listed as a tight end in fantasy, for God's sake.
Hey, not all fantasies. In Yahoo, he's still a quarterback.
So just calm down. Calm down on the Taysom Hill's going to be the guy here. I don't think there's a reason he hasn't been playing snaps at quarterback. Like, just saying. So I think I'm going to call the upset here. Falcons win.
Nah, I'm gonna sit here and say that the Falcons are gonna look at the Saints without Drew Brees, which more news came out, the fact that Drew Brees has now up to 11 rib fractures. So keep that in mind. That dude's a beast.
It's going to be a long stretch the next couple games for the Saints fans until Drew Brees can come back. Just saying.
Oh yeah, but the Falcons are going to look at the Saints when they're done and this game is over and say they are who we thought they were, and they're going to end up go out there. They're going to get the upset. Matty Ice is going to get me 400 plus yards and make magic happen for my fantasy. And I agree, the Falcons are going to upset, man. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be real good. But in our next game, oh, it's too crazy. In our next game, we have the 4-5 New England Patriots traveling on down to Houston to take on the 2-7 Texans, who've just been having a dismal year. Patriots are only favored by 2. I feel like this is just like a game of craptastic play. And this is what it's going to come down to: whoever has the ball last, whoever has committed the least amount of turnovers, and who can actually get something going in their last possession. Because this game's going to come down, I think, to the wire. New England's defense has actually been playing pretty decent. New England also has found a little bit of a rushing game. People don't realize New England, one thing they do have is a top 5 rushing offense. And Damian Harris right now is going to be that guy toting the rock. I know they've been having issues with Sony Michel, but they're hoping to have him back this week. A lot of stuff going on in that backfield, but they're starting to find playmakers. And I find it pretty funny that, Cam Newton has trouble throwing it in the end zone, but they got a wide receiver that can get it in there pretty good. So, hey, at least there's that, right?
Hey, Julian Edelman was a quarterback in college. He
was. And a lot of people do forget that. So we'll definitely see how it works out. I think this is going to come down to the wire, but I think the Patriots are going to find a way to win. It might come down more to schemes. Romeo Crennel has been doing good for the Texans, though, in an interim role, but it's just not going to be enough. Patriots are going to find a way to win. Don't know if they'll actually cover, though. This could end up being a 1-point game, but it'll probably be exciting nonetheless.
Shout out to the MAC, the Kent State Golden Flashes. Shout out for some Maction. Julian Edelman was the quarterback at Kent State Golden Flashes, if anyone wasn't aware. So just want to throw that out there. I'm just representing the MAC all day today. So
wow.
I got to. Western Michigan won the victory cannon over Central Michigan this week on Wednesday on national TV. It was great.
Do you run around and also say,
I'm a man, I'm 40?
Hey, I am a man, but I'm only 33, okay? So let's just get that out there. I'm not 40 yet, okay?
Key word there was yet. Anyways.
Yet, yeah, that's true. Sometimes I feel like I'm 40, but you know what? Other times I feel like I'm 25. So hey, let's just go with that one. The last 1 o'clock window game we're going to talk about today is the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 2-6 with 1 tie against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're playing against the Washington Football Club. They're not a team. They're 2-7, but hey, they're still within striking distance of the NFC East. That's how bad this division is. Washington is favored by 1, and I honestly, this to me is a pick'em. Like, both of these teams, the Cincinnati offense is better than the Washington offense, but the Washington defense is much better than Cincinnati's defense. So this is literally a toss-up. Is how is this Washington offense going to be able to come together? First, you got to find out who's going to start. I believe it's Alex Smith again, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Alex Smith is getting the start again.
And from there, you don't really know what you're going to get from him. Is he gonna come out and light it up like he did against Detroit, or right now he's already got 3 picks on the year? But I'm going to look at the offense of the Bengals. I'm going to look at Joe Burrow, and I think that he's going to have to be able to make as few mistakes as possible to be able to win. And I think Washington's going to give him some trouble. They're going to bring some pressure. They have a good pass rush, but I think the Bengals are going to take the win here on the road in a very slight upset.
Yeah, that game, oh gosh, just look at it and you just so much sadness in both those franchises right now. But
Look for the wide receiver match. Look for the wide receiver matchups on both sides here. Higgins and Boyd for the Bengals. I think each of those guys get a touchdown apiece, and then McLaurin for Washington. I think he gets on the board also.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. We'll see how that works out. Our first 4:05 window game though is it's an even sadder matchup. The 0-9 New York Jets are traveling out to L.A. to SoFi Stadium to take on the L.A. Chargers. At 2-7, Chargers are favored by 9.5. The Jets, wow, just wow, Jets. You still have Gase on your sideline. How? Please explain that to me. But
there's a great explanation actually. They want to guarantee the number 1 pick, so that way when they go.
I mean, that's the plan.
Yeah, because if you change head coaches here, you're probably going to get like 1 or 2 wins just because it's a new regime and they want to look good for the coaching staff. So like if they just keep Gase here, they're going to go 0-16. They will get the number 1 pick, and then as soon as they go 0-16, they'll fire Gase and start over.
You know, it's funny. No matter what they do right now, this is all they're going to hear in New York.
Ooh.
Because that team is just
they hear that
so
anyway.
horrid. Yeah, the team's horrible. And then they're going to turn around and they're going to – well, no, actually, they don't hear right now because there's, like, no fans. But either way, in SoFi Stadium, all they're going to hear is their asses getting kicked by the Chargers. Justin Herbert's going to throw it up and down the field. This defense is going to dominate the Jets. Jets have no shot. 9.5. Chargers win by 21. Calling it now.
Woo! Bold prediction, sir. I think that's pretty spot on. I don't see the Jets. It might be close in the first quarter, and that's about it.
Yeah,
I'm with you there. The second game in the 4:05 window, we got the surprising 6-3 Dolphins with the Coach of the Year frontrunner Brian Flores of the Miami Dolphins. They're going to traveling to Denver. 3-6 Broncos. The Dolphins are favored by 3.5. From here, I think Tua's been playing very mistake-free. He's got 5 touchdowns, no picks. And this defense is top 5 defense in the league. So I think that combination of those things, when you don't make mistakes on offense and you turn the ball over and have a very solid defense, I think that's what's going to help make the difference here. For the Broncos, Drew Lock is their guy of the future for right now, but he's not playing very well. 7 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. I'm going to take the Dolphins here. 3.5. I think it'll be close. So I'm gonna say the Dolphins will cover, but it won't be much more than 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give credit, man. Miami's been just making it happen. Tua's undefeated as a starter, which is absolutely amazing considering what team he went to. We're seeing the Miami resurgence, and I don't think this is going to be a fluke. I don't think this is going to be a one-time thing. I think it's going to be something that's going to be here to stay. And yeah, who knew that we'd be saying that? Hey, the Dolphins are good again. You know what I mean? So
right.
we'll definitely see how it works out, man. But you gotta keep it one game at a time. So Broncos are the next up. So we'll see. But in our first 4:25 game, we have the 7-2 Green Bay Packers traveling on down to Indianapolis to take on the 6-3 Colts. The Colts are favored by 1, which I think is kind of ridiculous given how good the Packers really are right now. Yeah, they've had a couple bumps in the road. Some things happening here and there. Devontae Adams, though, will be playing in this game. And if Aaron Rodgers is suiting up and he has at least one receiver to throw to, usually he can make some magic happen. But don't forget, they do have a decent running back in Jones standing back there, too. So I think this is going to be a flurry of offense. I think Indianapolis is a good team. They just have consistency issues. So I think the Packers are going to be able to capitalize on that. And I think the Packers are going to end up winning this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really tight game. The Colts, to their credit, they have a very solid defense. I think that's what's going to help keep them in this game. X factor is Naheem Hines for the Colts. He's been on a tear the last couple games, sharing the backfield with Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, it's going to be a tight game. I'm excited to check in on that one. Other 4:25 window game, we have the 2-7 and still in the hunt Dallas Cowboys. You know I'm going to do that every time to you.
I hate you. I hate you so much right now.
I love you too. They're traveling to Minnesota against the resurgent 4-5 Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota is favored by 7, and for as as good as Dallas should be, when they lost Dak Prescott, this team seemed like it really, all the flaws really came to light. I mean, they're falling apart. They've had 6 different players throw a pass on this team already this season. So that's not very good if you're Mike McCarthy and you're trying to already stay off the hot seat in your first year in Dallas. So that's a big yikes there if you're Cowboys fans. Really, the question here is can the Cowboys limit, contain, and or stop Dalvin Cook? Dalvin Cook has been on a tear, 954 yards and 12 touchdowns. 12 touchdowns. Oh, and not to mention Justin Jefferson's leading all rookies with 762 receiving yards on the year. So I think that combination, as long as Kirk Cousins can get out of his own head and stop making mistakes, just hand the ball off to Dalvin Cook, throw to what's open. Justin Jefferson's probably going to be open quite a bit here tonight. So I think that's what's going to help make the difference. Minnesota wins and covers.
Definitely could see that happen, and we'll see how it goes. But in our Sunday night football game, and I know Jimmy's been waiting for this one, we have the 8-1 Kansas City Chiefs traveling on over to Allegiant Stadium to take on the 6-3 Las Vegas Raiders. Chiefs favored by 7.5. This game is going to be a very exciting game. A lot of people are already starting to write the Raiders off, saying, hey, they got lucky. They already got that 40-32 win just 5 weeks or so ago. There's no way they can sweep the Chiefs. However, we are looking at a Raiders team that's currently on a 3-game winning streak. They haven't lost since that game after the Chiefs when they had that letdown against the Bucs. But the Raiders are a great team. They are top 10 in rush offense, ranking 7th. They're very good offensively and getting it in the end zone. 8th in points for this season. But the passing game is really where they've been weak. They're in the bottom rung of the league, ranking 21st in passing. So they got to be able to find a little bit more consistency there, getting it to Henry Ruggs, getting it to their star receivers, and being able to get this ball down the field. However, the big thing I look at is that they're a tenacious team led by John Gruden, and I think this team is not – they're not willing to be the crap team. They don't want to be at the bottom of this division anymore. They don't want to be the overlooked guys, and I think that they're going to pull the upset, and I'm going to call it a season sweep for the Raiders, and I think they're going to end up taking this one. It's going to be super narrow. Oh, yeah. Guess what? You said that before, and what's happened? I'm calling it now. Raiders in an upset, and they sweep the Chiefs on the season.
You heard it here on Final Score, everybody. You heard it here. That's quite the bold prediction.
I'm full of them today.
All right. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how that plays out. But in the last game on the slate, Monday night, we have the LA Rams, who are 6-3, traveling to Tampa Bay to play against the 7-3 Bucks. The Bucks are favored by 4. This will be 8:15 Monday night on ESPN. This is going to be another interesting game as far as just marquee matchups are concerned. It's really going to be the defense and that pass rush of the LA Rams versus Tom Brady and that offense. I'm really looking at our Aaron Donald and company going to be able to get to Tom Brady, and how often we see and we talk about it every single week. If that's how you want to beat Tom Brady, is you got to get in his face. You got to show him some pressure. If you are able to do that, he makes some more questionable decisions, and he's just kind of like every other average quarterback against pressure. He's not, he's not making those good decisions that you are come to accustomed from him, accustomed to see from him. So from here, I'm not even going to talk about Antonio Brown, because I don't think it's even going to be. He's still in the second or third game of the season for him, so he'll probably see a little bit more action on the field, but I don't think he makes a big difference. I am going to go out on a limb here, and it's Tampa Bay -4. It just depends. Is Jared Goff also on offense going to be able to make some plays? I'm going to go with the Rams.
Oh, wow.
I've been thinking about it. I'm going to go with the Rams in an upset.
Wow, you heard it here first, fans. I ain't the only one full of bold predictions, Cotton. But hey, who knows? I don't know. Mine's pretty bold though. So yours could actually realistically happen. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But definitely going to be some great action this week. Definitely make sure to check back next week. We'll give you all the latest for NFL action and all the great things that we have here on Final Score. But we have some other great stuff here on Final Score, and that's all of our wonderful content platforms that you can find us on, including Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, CastBox, among many, many, many others. And hey, if we're not on a platform, let us know, and we'll try and get on there for you, because all you got to do is go on those platforms and search keyword Final Score, one word, and you give us a like and a follow. And we have so much on there. Now we're going to be releasing more interviews as well. As you can catch that Chris LeBron podcast at some point. Or what was it say? Tomorrow, you said, on YouTube?
Either today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
It just depends.
Yeah, so definitely keep an eye out for that, as that will be dropping. A lot of great stuff that we have coming up, so definitely keep your eyes peeled. And now we're going to go ahead and peel back what was week 12 of college football. And it was a doozy. We had yet another flurry of games canceled or postponed, as the case may be. And this COVID is just hitting harder and harder. And it's not going away. People think it's just going to go away. It's not going to go away. But we lost. Clemson, Florida State was postponed. Ole Miss, Texas A&M was postponed. Georgia Tech, Miami. Charlotte and Marshall. Texas and Kansas. And then Louisiana and Central Arkansas was outright canceled. And that was our ranked games. That doesn't include the other games for unranked teams. So it's been crazy in November. I think we have now topped well over 30 games postponed or canceled this month alone. More than double from last month. So a lot of concerns going forward, man. Are you worried?
Well, one thing I got to touch on here is you mentioned all the games being postponed. The College Football Playoff Committee came out Wednesday night. I don't know if the announcement was named Wednesday or Tuesday, but they showed it on the Wednesday night broadcast for Central and Western Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned that if of the 4 playoff teams that get selected by the committee, if any of those teams cannot participate because of COVID, they're not going to replace that team. It's just going to be, whoever they play it is automatic bye, which I think is complete and utter bullshit. I'm calling it right now. It's complete and utter bullshit that they're going to go that route. I don't care if somebody got picked for the AutoZone Liberty Military Potato Bowl. I don't really care if they got picked for that bowl. You want the best 4 teams that are available, especially in 2020. It's thrown us all these loops. Why don't you adjust with the situation? Take the best 4 teams available. If one of those teams, and it's really going to be funny because since they made that announcement, how much you want to bet there will be 0 COVID announcements for any of those 4 teams?
Oh, I'm sure.
They'll find a way to sweep it under the rug so they can play. Guaranteed. So after the fact, I will not be surprised if one of those teams said, oh, yeah, we shouldn't have played because of COVID, and it'll come out a source from somebody's school say they should have backed out because of COVID, and then it didn't happen.
But it won't matter at that point because the games will be final.
Exactly. So I think that's one of the big BS things for me from the playoff committee. I think that was a cop-out excuse. But it's also going to open the door for somebody like Bama or Ohio State to be able to get in the championship without even having to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll definitely see.
Or even Clemson. I forget who number 2 is, but Clemson I know is number 4.
Number 2 team, man, I don't know. They already had COVID apparently, so
that's right. That team's number 2.
Yeah, who would have thought? Nah, you're good. But it's crazy when you look at it that there's been so many teams affected by this, and it just keeps sweeping in different areas. It doesn't seem like it has any kind of rhyme or reason, and it's just insane. If they really do, the College Football Committee, that is, if they really do take the approach of, they just get a bye, that's a slap in the face to the whole point of having a playoff. And let's not forget, we lived in a time of the BCS. We remember when Division 1A football, the FBS, was the only division or league in all of sports in the entire world not to have a playoff. We fought to get these games this way. That way we can actually have a fair outcome to who should be champion. And now you're slapping that entire process right in the face. And that's disgusting to me. And to think that you would just give a team a bye, it's just disgusting. So Hopefully it doesn't come down to that. Hopefully things will just work out. Obviously, I think teams definitely would try to sweep things under the rug or keep things hidden if they could. However, if it becomes too widespread, it ends up being out of your hands. So I could see it going either way. It could become a big scandal even. We'll see how it works out. But still, we're not going to get any kind of rankings, I think, for another week or 2 weeks, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks. And we'll be able to see what we're going to be dealing with at that point. A lot of big games are still got to be left to actually happen, some of which have been kind of swept to the side and also make me worry. But when we look at this week's action, we had a lot of exciting games. Starting on Thursday, we had number 25 Tulsa getting a huge win against Tulane. Now, people are like, oh, Tulsa and Tulane, why does that matter? It's because of how that game finished. Tulsa needed a Hail Mary just to send the game in overtime, and then got a fat man pick 6 to seal the game in double overtime. So that game was absolutely amazing.
That game was wild. So that was the same that Thursday night. I was flipping back and forth between that game and the Thursday night game and the NBA draft that was all kind of happening all rough in the same time frame. So flipping through those games, that was wild to watch.
Oh, yeah.
That was wild.
Oh, yeah, definitely was wild, man. But there was a lot of great games, some that were just complete blowouts, like Alabama winning 63-3 against Kentucky, snooze. But a much more exciting matchup, we saw number 3 Ohio State taking on number 9 Indiana. Indiana off to its best start in over 50 years. And this one, man, it came down to the wire. And everybody wants to talk about how good Justin Fields is. That dude had 3 turnovers. So,
well, look at Michael Penix Jr. from Indiana. A lot of people were writing Indiana off in this game. The spread was 25 points. So if you bet Indiana to cover here, you probably made some money. So congrats to you.
Yeah.
But Indiana scored 14 points in the fourth quarter to kind of make this a game. So while Penix Jr. 491 and 5 touchdowns, that guy has been the X factor for the Indiana Hoosiers. And you mentioned off to their best start in over 50 years. 4-1 is still going to do pretty well. It's still going to do pretty well in the Big Ten this year because we had a major upset in the Big Ten.
We did.
We had a major upset in the Big Ten.
Oh, we did. Number 19 Northwestern beat number 10 Wisconsin 17-7. I think Northwestern's rallying themselves as the Fighting Reese Davises now, but they were able to take down Goliath and be able to show, hey, there's other teams in the Big Ten, bro.
Yeah, did you see why they're called the Fighting Reese Davises?
No, I was trying to find something on it. I couldn't find anything.
I've got that for you. So on Tuesday night when they were doing the college football playoff ranking show or whatever, Reese Davis is the host. Joey Galloway was one of the commentators, and they were talking about this game. And Joey Galloway mentioned that the Northwestern Wildcats were similar to the Reese, basically a team of Reese Davises, saying that they were less athletic than the Wisconsin Badgers. And Reese Davis said, "Oh, so you mean they're superior athletically, right?" And he goes, "Yes, Reese, that's exactly why I said that." Just being a sarcastic dick. So Northwestern took that personally, and they took down Wisconsin. And in the post-game press conference, Coach Pat Fitzgerald mentioned that thank you to Joey Galloway because it pissed off our players and it gave us bulletin board material. So good job, Joey Galloway. You just sealed the fate of Wisconsin's season. So way to go.
Yeah, that definitely was entertaining to say the least. Man, that's crazy. But hey, Wisconsin goes down. Now they're falling out of the way. But now we look at Oregon, who almost had an upset against UCLA, winning 38-35 late. Huge scare from UCLA. Who played absolutely great, including the running back, Demetric Felton, who had 34 carries, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So UCLA definitely was giving it their all, and makes Oregon look maybe not quite as dominant as we thought they could be. So I don't know.
It's going to be difficult for any Pac-12 team to make the playoff this year unless we have some major falling out and a team like Oregon goes undefeated. Then maybe we'll see one in. But it's just 2020 has been so weird.
It really has. It really has.
Yeah.
But
a couple of other big big blowouts. Number 6 Florida blew out Vanderbilt, and number 8 BYU blew out a high school team. I'm sorry, Northern Alabama. Pretty much the same thing. 66-14.
Oh, yeah, but then we also made sure the Big 12 is going to keep itself out of the college football playoff as number 18 Oklahoma upset number 14 Oklahoma State 41-13. People want to call that an upset. Honestly, I think Oklahoma's better than the record says, but 41-13 is kind of surprising unto itself because I thought Oklahoma State would show up in this game a lot better. Spence Radler coming through for Oklahoma, showing why he was the big, highly touted recruit that they brought in. 17 of 24, 301 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Definitely making it look easy almost.
As much as I love Oklahoma State's program and following them for the last X amount of years, this game is similar to Michigan, Ohio State. Oklahoma wins every year. Ohio State wins every year. There's just no like. Oklahoma's got Oklahoma State's number, and it's never close. Like it's never even a game, unfortunately. But that just shows you that the it's not even a talent gap because they have pretty even talent. Oklahoma's got a slight advantage, but it's the mindset behind the game. Oklahoma State goes in knowing that they're the underdog, even if they have a better record, and Oklahoma just knows they're going to win this game every single year. So it's very similar to the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry at the moment. There's really no competition. It's all one-sided here.
No, you're definitely are right, and not much has changed in that. So, not too surprising, like I said, see Oklahoma actually win this, but I just think the margin is a lot bigger than what a lot of people expected. So, but Big 12 though, pretty much killing itself off from having any type of shot at the college football playoff with this game. So, way to go, guys! No titles for you. But the only other upset that we have was that NC State took down number 21 Liberty, led by Hugh Freeze. NC State ended up winning this one 15-14 after blocking the go-ahead field goal late in the game. So hats off NC State pulling off the upset, finally getting themselves a little bit of notoriety.
Yeah, and way to go for Liberty. I mean, this is their second year of NCAA Division I or FBS eligibility. So they had a big upset. Was it last year over Syracuse? This is their third year already. Man, time flies.
Yeah,
but they're
like that.
but they're already ranked. I mean, you're going 8-1 and you're ranked even in a COVID, shortened season. Still being ranked for a program being that young in FBS, that's a hats off to Hugh Freeze. Hopefully you don't get any recruiting violations there.
Yeah, hopefully, and we'll definitely see how that works out. But college football definitely has been crazy this year, and I'm sure it's going to continue to roll that way. And it's been wild, but hopefully we can try and keep the season going, and the whole thing doesn't come crashing down on its face.
There's one game that we forgot to touch on, sir.
What's that game?
We can't forget about the home area team.
Oh, we do. I was trying to ignore it because I know it's sad for them because number 7 Cincinnati beat UCF 36-33 in an extremely exciting game. I know good friends of the show are very sad right now. UCF getting its third loss on the year. Cincinnati, though, still undefeated, still rolling now 8-0 and 6-0 in the American. So, hey, hats off Cincinnati. They've been able to really make this program mean something.
Yeah, Luke Fickell's done a really great job there since taking over, and that team, the Cincinnati Bearcats, they've been in the talks for the American Conference champions almost every single year. So, congrats to them, and then also for our UCF fans here, Heupel's keeping it. You know there was going to be a drop off at some point. Come on,
yeah.
If you don't think so, you're kidding yourself. The window's closed. Unfortunately, as we love to see UCF succeed because it's good for the Orlando area, it's just good for recruiting and just for football in the state of Florida. But it's okay. The dream's over. You can wake up now.
Well, they're still going to be able to finish strong. They have USF next week, so I'm sure they'll get back to their winning ways. USF is not a good team, so I'm sure it'll be okay. And you got to have down years at some point, but hey, they could bounce back. Who knows? UCF is one of those non-Power 5 schools that is very, very highly accepted as a team that could possibly make that next jump eventually to be in a Power 5. So, a lot of things could happen for them in the future, but we'll see how it all works out. But it works out pretty awesome. Podcast City Network.
Podcast City Network. Yeah, Final Score is a proud member of Podcast City Network. We are the flagship sports show for the network at the moment. You can find us. Our website is podcastcity.net/finalscore. You can follow PCN on a plethora of different social media outlets. You can find us Facebook. It's facebook.com/podcastcitynetwork. Twitter is at podcastcity.net. I'm sorry, at podcastcitynet. I'm just so used to saying the URL all the time. You can find any of our video content on YouTube. Just search keyword Podcast City Network. And, of course, the website, as I aforementioned, podcastcity.net. Podcast City Network, we're up to 18 shows. We have a lot of great talent on this network, and we're one of the up-and-coming independent podcast sources. So we're always looking to bring you everybody the best content from a bunch of different genres. Just check it out, podcastcity.net. You can kind of browse the website, look at all the different shows. We have sports, we've got pop culture, we've got just opinion podcasts, we've got horror, we've got there's Urban Nerd Weekly, we've got I'm Double Dime for sports betting. You got a few wrestling podcasts. All of those are available on Podcast City Network.
Yep, that's right. Definitely check out all that great stuff. A lot of great stuff we got going on over there. But it's now time for some social madness. Definitely going to have some fun with this one. I've been silently just waiting to be able to pull this one off because I had to make sure I had enough content to throw up because, we try to bring the very best that we do. And we have great fans that have been creating memes and posting them to our pages recently. And we wanted to share them with you guys because I got a kick out of them. I'm sure you guys will too because, we try to do the very best, just like, attract attention to this. Oh, this guy. Look at that. ESPN, NFL Network, Fox, CBS, NBC. What are you looking at? Final Score, baby. That's right. Gotta love the memes, man. Gotta love the memes. Just as much as I love this that Batman and Robin one, I'm watching Sports Center. Final Score or nothing. So, hey. God,
yeah,
I love these.
I love these, man. They're some of these are classic memes, and shout out. I know Jimmy's been working on throwing these out there quite frequently, so we appreciate you showing the love and making us a meme. It's fantastic.
I love being a meme. It's so awesome. And this is how these are coming from Jimmy, because this next one I love is that good old Leonardo DiCaprio. Chargers had the ball with 1 second left. Final Score told you the Raiders would win. Hey. Oh, man. Too good. Too good. But you know what? We're all about perfection here as well. We try to make a really good product here. And who's really, really making a good perfection of crap teams? The Jets with crap team perfection. God, that's such a great meme. Oh man, you gotta love it, man. Too good.
I love it. Keep those coming. Those are great. I love seeing those come across my timeline.
Oh, it's too good. But you know what?
We got.
See how many more here we got. I got
a couple of comments here. Jimmy saying, "Let's go, fans." I love it. Kevin, the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Watson's here in the chat. Welcome. And I could go off about Michigan. I don't even acknowledge it anymore. It's just it's a season that I think I might just have my own little spin-offs and just go off on stuff. So that'd be a lot of fun. But I think.
And Kevin, yes, I am a goof. Yes, the Eagles do suck, but sorry, Notre Dame's number 2, bro. Stop hating because Michigan sucks. Just saying.
Oh.
Oh, I know. It pains you deeply. It pains you deeply. But you know what makes it – you know what an easy decision is? What sports show you're going to watch every week. You got to make that red button, blue button decision. Psh, easy. Final Score, baby. Oh, it's too good. But I got one more left. I got one meme left, and this one I think was my favorite one, and it was because we got into an argument. I don't remember if it was last week. I think it was actually 2 weeks ago about the possible coach of the year, and I took the side of Mike Tomlin. You took the side of Brian Flores. Now it has been immortalized as a meme.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
I gotta love a little Star Wars flair, man. It's too good.
Kevin,
too good.
Kevin's telling you the Clemson win with an asterisk.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody says that. Guess what? History still says it's a win. NTN less than 30 yards, I think it was rushing. Yeah, that's your next Zeke Elliott. So yeah, have fun with that, bro.
Just remember, if you don't win a championship, it's all for naught.
Yeah, I know because we're championship or bust every year. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Trevor's gonna look rusty. They had their game postponed against Florida State, so I was kind of hoping for some FSU magic, so we don't even have to play Clemson again. But we'll see how it goes.
All right, what do you say we wrap this thing? What do you say we wrap this thing up with some give or go?
Yeah, we got to do that. But before we do that, if you're starting yourself a podcast or just want to try and expand your reads, you need to check out Podcast City Network, as they always try to bring the very best that they can to try and help podcasts reach their goals, because they offer an array of membership services, including logo design and branding, social media advertising, live podcast hosting, and much, much more. You also gain access to our network of shows to help with cross-promotion, guest, and overall reach, while also becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. The best part is, no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcastcity.net/join now and join the fastest growing independent podcast network around, Podcast City Network. Make it magic happen. Oh, God, Kevin killing me with these. Anyways, but it is now time, though, for the good old give or go. Definitely going to be interesting one this week. And I'm going to throw the first one to you. New York Mets Robinson Cano is now banned for the entire 2021 MLB season because of PEDs. Give or go?
Not really surprised. This is not the first time Cano has been under fire about getting suspended. He's also 38 years old. Like, how do you expect to be able to keep up with guys that are literally 10 years and 15 years younger than you?
Steroids.
He missed 80 games in 2018 after testing positive for a diuretic while he was with the Seattle Mariners. So not really surprising. I'm just surprised Commissioner Rob Manfred had the balls to do anything about it. Like, bravo to you. Oh my God, he actually made a tough decision, which it wasn't even a tough decision. I'm not surprised. I don't think Cano's going to last a whole lot longer. He's voiding his whole contract for this coming year, which is $20-some million, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to look for the exact number, but it's over $20 million he's going to be voiding for this year. And I don't think he's going to last a whole lot longer. Like I said, 38 years old, you got to have PEDs and you got to have steroid use just to try to keep up with how you used to play. Not really surprised here, and wouldn't be surprised if you see a retirement out of him soon.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It'll definitely be interesting to see how that works out. And you're right. When you're getting older and you're getting up there and you've been in the league a while, you want to try and find ways to try and keep up with the younger guys coming in. They always get stronger. They always get faster, it seems like, especially as you get older. Just go ahead and, oh, my God, what's that dude's name? I can't remember now. I'm not even going to make the joke now because I can't remember. But either way, I'm not too surprised to see how this has turned out. I think that he is going to end up retiring probably in the next year or two anyway. So this might end up actually accelerating that. So we'll definitely see how it plays out. But no surprise that this ended up working out this way.
Absolutely. Second topic, the NHLPA is, quote, blindsided by the owner's request to change terms on a new collective bargaining agreement. Give or go?
Oh, yeah. We're going to give on this very briefly. This new collective bargaining agreement was signed about 4 months ago just to get the season started. That included a 10% deferment of all money paid to players over the course of the next couple of years. Now, it took a lot just to get to that point because the NHL owners wanted a lot more, given that they were taking a significant financial hit for the season because of COVID. You don't have ticket sales. You don't have any of that kind of revenue coming in, and that's what they thrive on. So if you don't have people in the seats, then you're not making money. Now, they want to try and push this to a deferred compensation that climbs to 20% this season and escrow to 25%, and there would be no changes to subsequent seasons. Now, players, though, are already pushing back on this, saying, hey, it took us forever just to get to this point. We already signed a CBA. Let's just stick to what we've done. But now the owners want to try and press for more. So this looking at a little bit of a power struggle right now, possibly between the NHL and the NHLPA. Some people are worried that this could end up delaying the start of the NHL season, which are still aiming for January 1st. But looking at how it looks now, I don't know. So we'll definitely keep you updated on this one as it unfolds. A huge blow right now to hockey fans everywhere.
And this is yet again just another reason why there's just so much divide between the players and owners of the NHL. We could have another strike. We could have another another missed season. Like, what is it going to take? I don't know if it's because of Gary Bettman being in office, or I don't know if it's just – but let's just figure it out. Like, Gary Bettman's been the commissioner of NHL, and how many strikes have we had? How many delays to seasons have we had?
Mm-hmm.
This is getting ridiculous. Like, at some point, there's got to be a change there. We can't have almost every single season be like, every 5 seasons, like, we might have a strike in hockey. Just like the same thing with baseball. We have strikes in baseball all the time. Let's just make sure we got the right people in place. I mean, yes, there's going to be a new CBA because of COVID and all this kind of stuff, but it's just the age-old divide. Owners versus players. There's always going to be each one wants a bigger piece of the pie.
And that's how it is. It's always this power struggle, it seems like. But I feel like given these times, you got to just do what's best for getting the game going, because guess what? If you guys decide to bicker and fight and end up delaying the start of your season, all you're doing at that point is hurting your fans, and fans are going to get turned off, and now you're going to drive your numbers even lower. And then once you get back to full play, now you're not going to see as many people in the stands. The attendance numbers are going to be down. The viewership numbers are going to be down, just because you guys are looking like petty children who just can't get this done, and let's get a season going. Not saying money isn't important, but come on.
Right. And George brings up a good point in our chat here that a lot of guys, you've seen it recently, when there's delays in the season, they go and play overseas. And I can guarantee you, he said, ask Ovi how much the KHL pays. The KHL will pay out the ass for high-level NHL talent. They will pay. So I would not be surprised to see some guys, if there's a delay to the season, maybe play overseas, decide to play a season, in Europe or in Russia. Would not be surprised at all.
And just to throw it out there to George, he says hockey fans go nowhere. Dude, we had football fans freaking out because somebody took a knee. Like, come on now. Yep. Like, I have no faith
hockey
when it comes to people these days.
Hockey fans are some of the most loyal fans you will ever come across. So, yeah, absolutely they're not going anywhere. But it just sucks when the commissioner and the owners and players cannot find even ground to make the best move for the fans.
Yes.
Not for the players, not for their pocketbooks, but for the fans. And, that's usually what we run into here.
Yeah, more than likely. And we'll definitely see how it turns out. But definitely make sure to check back with Final Score and keep your eyes on our social media, because we will try and share that once we find out more. And I hope it doesn't do anything to derail the season in any kind of way, because that would just be a huge blow right now. We're already dealing with COVID. Like, let's just keep things, keep things going for right now. But our next give or go, the Toronto Raptors will open the 2020-2021 NBA season in Tampa Bay after Canada denies the request to play home games in Toronto. Give or go.
The Tampa Bay Raptors has an interesting ring to it. I mean, they should just change the name while they're here, but just make it a whole different team. No, just kidding. I think it's going to be good, because it's going to show, hopefully, that Tampa Bay can host a team much like how they did with Oklahoma City.
Yes.
During Hurricane Katrina, and it'd be pretty cool. I think I'm going to go try to catch some of those games when they're here, if we're allowed to, of course. But it's for obvious reasons. Canada's still very, very strict with COVID-19 restrictions and because of the pandemic. And Florida, it makes sense they would want to come here because we're one of the states that are still open and not shutting back down. So as far as from a revenue standpoint, that makes sense. They want to go somewhere where they can still potentially sell tickets and then merchandise and do all that kind of stuff. So I would not be surprised. And this is also a good positioning for Tampa, just in case if the NBA ever decides they want to expand. I don't think Tampa Bay will be on the list, because Orlando's really, really close, and Tampa itself is not necessarily a big enough of a city in the NBA's eyes to be able to host an NBA team.
But we have teams in Milwaukee and Oklahoma City and stuff like that, where I feel Tampa definitely is larger than both of those markets. not saying Tampa would be a big market, team or anything, but I think Tampa could help support an NBA team, especially when you look at the sports culture already in Tampa with the Buccaneers already there, USF being there, and also the Tampa Bay Rays. So, I mean, I think there'd be a little bit of potential, but I don't think they would be at the top of the list. Not saying
I
that,
agree.
but I think they would be considered.
Poking holes in your argument, the Milwaukee having a team, they've had a team for a long time. They've had a team way longer than Miami, Orlando, half the teams in the league. That's like saying Green Bay doesn't deserve an NFL team because it's the only thing in town. That's why Milwaukee has it. That's why Oklahoma City has it. They weren't at the top of the list to get a team until they showed up for the Thunder when they hosted them, and they went out of their way to make every move possible to show the NBA that they were worthy of a team. That's why they got it. If Tampa does the same thing, absolutely they will jump themselves to the top of the list for any future expansion.
Absolutely, man. Tampa will try to bend over backwards for at least for what they can do to try and help support this team any way they can. So I think this could end up being a nice little thing for Tampa. And I do agree, having 3 teams in Florida would be kind of crazy. But, hey, we already have 3 football teams. Why not have 3 NBA teams? We could be that state because, hey, we're all about tourism anyways. Come see some sports. We got you. So we'll definitely see how it works out. I think it's going to be interesting. Another thing, too, a lot of people have been saying in the chat, it's a great merchandising opportunity for Toronto because, hey, why not be the Tampa Bay Raptors for 1 year, Has a nice little ring to it, man. And, hey,
and 10 years down the road, that merch is going to be very, very rare. So.
Yeah, exactly. And think about it, too. If for some crazy reason the Tampa Bay Raptors go on to win the championship, Tampa Bay looks amazing in sports this year. Just saying.
That's true. That's true.
Man. But you know what else is great?
It's something in the air down here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe the water, too. Who knows? Or all the sunshine or, all the freaking humidity. Oh, my God. Anyways. But you know what else is great? God, you already know this is going, too. King of transition.
Absolutely.
Got to talk about that good old Podchaser. What can you tell us, Greg?
Well, Podchaser is your daily source for podcast discovery. No longer is Apple Podcasts the only credible place that you can rate and review podcasts. On Podchaser, you can follow individual creators such as ourselves. You can browse every podcast that's ever been released, and you can even rate and review individual episodes on top of the show itself. We are also on podchaser.com. You search keyword FinalScore, one word, and you can give us a follow, you can give us a rating, and you can go ahead and review us there. Podchaser is doing a lot of cool stuff for podcasters all around the world. It's been really cool to be able to kind of communicate and meet with some of the team there at Podchaser, and looking forward to what they release here in the future for podcasters near and far.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll definitely see how what they end up going up to. They're always trying to find new ways to be able to expand and help connect people to podcasts and those podcast creators. So definitely make sure to go and check it out and make sure that you go and give us a like and a follow, leave us a review, let us know how we're doing and all that great stuff. And we'll definitely try and bring you the best that we can because that's what we do here. But sadly, with the end of that, that means now we're looking at the week ahead, which of course Double Dime will be going live tomorrow on YouTube Live. Finally got those guys set up. They have made the switch. So definitely make sure to check them out. You can find the updates on that also on their Twitter at Fixed Edge. So definitely make sure to check them out. But what do we got next week, Craig?
Next week, we've got episode 83, Final Score. It's going to be 10 a.m. on Sunday here on Facebook Live. If you want to check that out, facebook.com/PCN Final Score. And we'll be talking about some more free agency for the NBA. Any other news that comes out, we'll be previewing next week's NFL, recapping college football, and there may be a special guest. So be on the lookout for that.
Yes, definitely keep an eye out. Like we said, we try to do the best we can, and we always try to find new ways to do it, even if we got to bring people on to make us look good. So definitely make sure to check us out next week for episode 83. But until then, you guys have watched Final Score. It's been a great episode, Craig. It's always a pleasure. Definitely join us next week. Any final parting words, sir?
Always a lot of fun. Excited. Got a wedding to go to today, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what this week brings us and all the NFL action today. I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah, going to be exciting. But until then, I'm Chris, and that's Craig, and you guys have just watched Final Score. Y'all have a great night.
Podcast City Network.